Hello and welcome back. This is video number 3, and we're going to talk about your highs and your lows. Now, before we actually jump right in, I want to ask you a question. Were you able to finish the outline and breakdown of your day in video number 2? If you have not, I would just ask you to pause this video and go do that really quick, because it's going to just be so much more powerful when you watch video number 3. And this is going to make just so much more sense when you actually go through it. Now, assuming that you have, and assuming that you have watched video number 2, we're going to talk about a specific strategy here that utilizes the 80-20 rule. So the 80-20 rule applies here. And if you're not familiar with what the 80-20 rule is, basically the rule says that you can get 80% done with only 20% effort. So what that means is you spend 20% doing a certain amount of stuff and then you get 80% done, rather than you spending 80% and then only getting 20% done. So basically what happens here is you're utilizing a strategy that will actually save you time. Now, this is combined with a different strategy, which I'm going to explain to you in just a minute. So what I want you to do is I want you to look at your outline now, go through the day-to-day things that are really required, and add it up to figure out how much time you're spending on the necessary things such as sleep, eating, grooming, traveling, and things that you just cannot do without. So maybe looking through a whole couple of weeks, just pinpoint things that you actually have to do. And obviously you have to do those things that I covered. Just figure out how much time that you actually spend, and we'll move from there. Then after that, what you need to do is you need to allot tasks that require more focus and sharpness during that time. So like I said, look at your outline and figure out which times that you feel the most energetic and refreshed. Now obviously that's probably not going to be right before you go to sleep, because you're probably going to be tired, obviously. But if you look at your schedule and you see that, okay, you wake up, for example, and you find that you're very focused and sharp right after you wake up, then you're going to want to focus on that area. Now, some of you might be different. For me, when it comes to recording, for example, the best time for me to record and the most efficient time for me to record is right after I wake up, whether it's, in the morning or taking a nap and so forth. I find that if I do it late at night, then it actually takes me a long time. So rather than spending 3 hours, I can wake up, take a nap, work, and then spend, half an hour. So what this will do to you is it'll actually help you save time. So rather than spending 3 hours because your brain is not refreshed, you're actually spending, half an hour or even less. So that's what I want you to figure out. It might be different from person to person. And it might be different. You might be really sharp and focused maybe a couple hours before you sleep. So it may be different. I'm not saying this applies, my situation applies to everyone. So what you're going to find is that it actually takes less effort to concentrate when you're at your prime, given the examples that I've talked about earlier. So you really need to identify which time of the day that you really feel the least energetic on the flip side, and avoid putting difficult activities there. So if you find that you got to really put some brain power into stuff, you may not want to put it at the time of the day that you feel less energetic. So let's say, for example, you run a business. You run a business and then you notice that when you eat food, your brain might tend to slow down. Now, like I said, it might be different from person to person. If you eat food, you may feel more energized. So depending on your situation and your situation alone, that is the question. When are you most effective or most sharp and focused? And then, second of all, the flip side, the opposite side, when are you the least energetic? And to put your most important activities and the most difficult activities when you're more focused and refreshed. And put the activities that really just don't take a lot of time and that are brainless, maybe like paying bills and stuff like that, at the time that you're not as focused. Now, if it's a certain bill that's important and this is something, maybe a bill that you have not done before, then you may want to prioritize that. So what you want to do is then you want to use that time, to do something relaxing, or even use that as your break period. So when you are down, like maybe right before you're sleeping, the downtime, you might want to relax or just take a break period. Now, there's specific strategies we'll talk about later, such as like the Pomodoro techniques and things like that, to help you have a more agile mind. So really the goal here is not just to show you how to kind of break up your day, but to get you to a point where your mind is agile so that you can really think really, really fast. So let's talk about what we call HIIT, which is an acronym for High Intensity Interval Training. Now, you may notice this, and you may have done this before when you have done exercises. But for example, let's say you do a workout session on a treadmill for 1 hour. And what happens here is the HIIT could be 10 minutes. Now, let's say, for example, that the workout session on the treadmill takes an hour, but you do like jumping jacks and all of sorts of things, basically high intensity type stuff over here. Now, if you think about it, you may spend only 10 minutes doing like push-ups, jumping jacks, high intensity type stuff over here, and then, low intensity stuff over here. But the question is, guess who burns more calories? The longer span of time that, you're just working out on the treadmill. Maybe you're doing a number 4 or number 3, something slow. You're doing a long-term consistency, but you're not doing something like high intensity. So the one who did HIIT, for example, the high intensity interval trainings, what happens here is you actually burn the same amount of calories because it's high intensity versus low intensity. But the low intensity is a longer amount of time. The high intensity is short amount of time, but you burn the same amount of calories. But at the same time, you actually save 40 minutes and yet you get better results, or 40 or 50 and so forth. So since that's 60 minutes, you save about 60. So basically, if you look at this specific method, our brain is designed to focus on a single task. So the estimated length of human attention, for example, or the ability to concentrate continuously, is about 20 minutes. Think about that. A lot of times we focus on something and we spend hours and hours and hours, and we can't figure out why in the world we cannot figure out or solve something. It's because the length of our attention span is 20 minutes. That's pretty short. So if it is 20 minutes, then what you need to do is you need to restore that focus by resting for about 5 to 10 minutes. Not too long, but just short enough amount of time to get yourself kind of on a high intensity schedule. So you got 20 minutes, your brain is thinking, you take a 5-minute break, maybe you just get up, stretch, go to the bathroom, just do something. Maybe that's not at the computer, not what you are trying to do. Maybe you're outside doing, work, and maybe you need to go inside and take a breather in something in an air conditioned environment for 5 to 10 minutes. So this specific task allows you to kind of create your agile mind. So for that 20 minutes, you're really focused, we're running kind of high intensity type stuff, 5-minute break. 20 minutes, 5-minute break. 20 minutes, 5-minute break. So you want to make sure to allot for kind of breaks or rest periods on your timeline to properly adjust. So I hope you enjoyed that specific exercise and specific strategy. And this is something that I want you to go ahead and implement. Try to do this, throughout your day. Even do that now as you're watching this video course. After 20 minutes, take a break and go do something. Go get a cup of coffee. Go get something to drink. Go to the bathroom. Take 5 minutes off and come back. And it's phenomenal, but it's amazing that you'll be able to kind of absorb a lot of information faster, and you'll be able to implement it faster as well. So with that said, let's move on to video number 4, and let's talk about the truth of multitasking. Does it work? Does it not? Well, let's talk about that.